Welcome to the Jersey Crew Week 3 Fantasy Preview show. I am Christopher Forsman, owner of Jimmy Klein. Let's get right to the matchups. This week, we're looking at the Puffin Painters versus I'll Kick Your Ass. Two former champions going at it. Your current champion, I'll Kick Your Ass, and former champion of a few years ago, the Puffin Painters. Puffin Painters were led in Week 2 by a 51-point effort from Tom Brady, who tore apart the San Diego Chargers defense for 423 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and he ran for 3 yards. Based on projections from FantasySharks.com, Puffin Painters can expect a 37-point effort from Tom Brady in Week 3, who's expected to beat the Buffalo Bills defense for at least 350 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. We're loaded for Barrymore, Puff Painters coach Matt said. I'll Kick Your Ass were led in Week 2 by a 26-point effort by Larry Fitzgerald, who beat the Redskins defense for 133 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. In addition, Patrick Chung was not injured before the start of his Week 2 game, and he contributed 4 points, but he's listed out in Week 3 to an injured thumb, which might severely limit his fantasy production. Based on projections from FantasySharks.com, I'll Kick Your Ass can expect a 24-point effort from Calvin Johnson in Week 3, who's expected to beat the Minnesota Vikings for at least 110 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Ikia's coach Justin, when commented for this week, said, "We have to stay hungry." And this is the first game between these two franchises this year. And in the 3-year history of this rivalry, Puffin Painters holds a 2-1 all-time series lead. Next matchup, he could go all the way at the Blue Line Capitals. He could go all the way. We're led in Week 2 by a 39-point effort from Vincent Jackson, who beat the Patriots defense for 172 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. In addition, Mario Manningham, who was not hurt last week, he contributed 8 points, but he's listed as out this week due to concussion. Based on projections from FantasySharks.com, he could go all the way. Can expect a 35-point effort from Chris Johnson this week, and at least 115 rushing yards and 1 touchdown, and up to 50 receiving yards. We need to step up to the next level. He could go all the way, Coach Joe Ortiz said. Blue Line Capitals were led in Week 2 by a 28-point effort from Peyton Hillis, who got the Colts defense for 94 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 23 receiving yards. However, Peyton Hillis is out this week. Felix Jones, who's also out this week, contributed just 3 points last week. And based on projections from FantasySharks.com, though, Blue Line can expect a 25-point receiving effort from Steve Smith this week if he can continue his chemistry with Cam Newton. Expect Steve Smith for at least 130 receiving yards and a touchdown. Blue Line Capitals coach Dave said, "We have to go out there and take care of business." And this is the first game of these franchises this year. We have a 1-1 all-time series record based on their current team owners. Sex Panther had played to win the game. Sex Panther led last week by 32 points from Darren McFadden, who got 72 yards and rushing touchdown and 71 receiving yards against the Bills. Aaron Hernandez had a great week last week. However, he's hurt this week, but Aaron Hernandez had 19 points last week. And Sex Panther can expect at least 26 points from Andre Johnson this week. He's projected for 120 receiving yards and a touchdown. Sex Panther Eric Hansen, Coach Eric Hansen said, we can't take these guys lightly." Play to win the game, led in Week 2 by 33 points from Adrian Peterson in a losing effort against the Bucks. 2 rushing touchdowns, 120 rushing yards, and he had 21 receiving yards. Eddie Royal, who's out this week, had just 3 points last week for him. However, we can expect Philip Rivers to have at least 29 points this week. He's expected to torch the Chiefs for at least 300 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. The season is a marathon, not a sprint. Play to win the game, Coach Jeff Wyra said. This is the first game between these two franchises this year. I do not have information on the history of the two teams. Big Dummies led in Week 2 by 34 points from Drew Brees, big surprise, who beat up the Bears for almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. He can expect another 39 points this week from Drew Brees, expected to beat up on the Texans defense, although they're playing a little bit better. Expect, though, 4 touchdowns from Drew Brees. Big Dummies coach Brad Campanella said, "We need to turn up the intensity." Touched by an Uncle led in Week 2 by 27 points from Ryan Matthews, who beat up the Patriots for a rushing touchdown, 64 rushing yards, 62 receiving yards. And Cam Newton this week is projected to get at least 300 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, and maybe even up to 40 rushing yards. There are no easy games in this league, Coach Touched by an Uncle Giles said when commenting on this rivalry. Again, this is a brand new rivalry with a new coach. Evil Monkeys at Jimmy Klein. Evil Monkeys led last week by 41 points from Miles Austin, who beat the San Francisco 49ers for 143 yards, 3 receiving touchdowns. However, I believe I just saw the Evil Monkeys put Miles Austin on his taxi squad. Maybe it's just to make some moves. So I would expect Miles Austin to be in the Evil Monkeys lineup against me this week. Carnell Williams, listed as questionable this week. Aaron Rodgers, projected for 330 yards, 4 touchdowns against the Bears. So I don't know about that. But Evil Monkeys coach Jeff said, we have to stick to our bread and butter on our offense, and I would imagine that's Aaron Rodgers. My team, Jimmy Klein, led by 30 points last week from Fred Jackson, who had a great week against the Oakland Raiders. Rushed for 117 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 23 receiving yards. This week, I do not believe Dallas Clark is playing for me. That could be a problem. But I can expect 26 points and a continued consistency from Miles Austin, who's up against the Colts defense and the the Pittsburgh offense, sure enough to spend a lot of time on the field with no Peyton Manning up against on the other side of the ball. We've got an intriguing matchup, was my comment when asked about this week with the Evil Monkeys. First matchup between us this year. I don't have the rivalry information. I believe Evil Monkeys is 2-1 against me, very likely. So that's it for your Jersey Crew Dynasty Fantasy Football League for Week 3, 2011. We wish everybody best of luck, and we'll see everybody out there.